Hey, everybody. Thank you for jumping on. As usual, we're going to wait for a few people to get in here. It was a hot weekend this weekend. I think everybody made it home okay, but it was pretty toasty out. Hey, Z, how's it going for you? Oops, your mic's off.
Oh, yeah. There we go. I'm doing good. Man, I'm starting to
Doing
get
good?
used to that intro. I like it. It hypes me
Yeah,
up.
I like
Seeing
it, but
everybody's
sometimes,
pictures and that music.
yeah, sometimes I think I want to freshen it up, and I probably should get a Copper State logo in there, but
Yeah.
I still like it pretty well. I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah,
Um,
it works for me.
yeah, so while we're waiting for a few people to jump on, I want to thank some sponsors here, as always: Copper State Marine and Tackle, Labina Lures, Copper State Baits, Southwest Custom Tackle. And for any of you guys that fish any boat tournaments, Southwest Custom Tackle, Lyle over there puts on a really good series. Persuader Bass Baits and Minesweeper Lure Co. Uh, Again, check out Copper State Tackle. They've got a great online store, and they've got a great store in general. I guess they're moving in and getting boats going. They've got a lot of stuff going on, so get down there and check them out. We've got a little bit of a break after this tournament. Our next tournament coming up is going to be September 14th at Bartlett. So we got a couple of months. There's going to be in that time, there's going to be some club tournaments that Zoltan's going to be running. Zoltan, you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so we're going to do like a little summer night series, kind of like we did last year, just 4 events. And the first one's coming up this month on the 22nd. We're going to be out at Saguaro Lake. And for the night series, it's just going to be points awarded to club members only. The events will be open to club guests, though. But points for all 4 events, and then 1 throwout. So your 3 best points will go to a little AOI spread, and then we'll just give a coast-to-coast custom trophy for the top 3 that finish in that. And it'll be fun. Just something to, keep our lines wet in those hot summer months when no one's really fishing during the day. So I might switch up Pleasant, which is currently the 3rd lake on the summer night series schedule. This is all on the website if everyone ever wants to go on there and look. Like, the whole schedule's on there, including the month-longs and stuff. But yeah, I don't know about Lake Pleasant. It's not really the best lake to fish overnight because of some of the rules they have there. So I might change that. Looking for maybe some suggestions. But yeah, as it stands right now, those are the events. After, I guess we'll be doing Bartlett on July 20th, and then August 3rd will be possibly at Lake Pleasant, maybe not, and then August 24th will be at Roosevelt, and those will be our night events.
Hang on, I'm making a note here, or trying to, but I'm misspelling everything.
Yeah, if it wasn't for spell check, some of us would be lost.
StreamYard made some new kind of rules that I've got to get used to, and I'm wanting to figure out how to get out to more people. Since they don't let us stream directly to our group page, our viewership has been really kind of down, and I'm trying to figure out how to fix that. And if anybody knows, please get in touch with me. It's not immediately obvious to me, but it's still good. We're recording to a couple of different YouTube channels, and there's ways for people to find us. But been a couple of crazy days for me. I told you guys that my wife on Sunday morning managed to have a mountain bike crash and break her ankle, and so we spent the day Sunday in the ER, and then we had to go yesterday. We had to go pick her truck up from the dealership. On the way back from that, we were pulling up on an intersection, and a kid on a scooter went flying through the intersection and got plowed by the truck that was right in front of me. The kid ended up going under the vehicle. Luckily, he wasn't run over by one of the wheels. I jumped out and ran over there. I was the first one to get to him. He was knocked unconscious and like convulsions and stuff. It was it was wild. So ended up there for quite a while. The EMTs got there, and he was conscious by then, and they said, that after checking him out, he was just scuffed up, but basically okay. So he really got lucky that he didn't end up under the wheels. But and then today back to the doctor with Chris. So it might be a minute before we're back on the water, but we'll get there.
Yeah, man, I feel bad that she got injured, and I'm praying for that kid too. Hopefully, he doesn't have a concussion or something. But yeah, and hopefully, whatever the doctors say about her X-rays and stuff, that the surgery is going to be effective and things can be repaired good, and she'll be back out there in no time.
Yeah, hopefully so.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we had the Roosevelt qualifier, and we've got the top 3 guys here. I'm going to go ahead and pull them in, and we'll start going through results and payouts. Sound good to you, Z?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do it. I just want to say one thing. It's not a big deal. I'm not looking for viewership, but if you're having trouble finding this on Facebook, it is streaming on my YouTube channel, Natural Kayak Fishing, and I think you got it going on YouTube as well, Pat.
Yeah, I do. I haven't been doing much with my YouTube for a while, so I don't get a lot of people looking there, but it is streaming to my YouTube channel as well.
Good.
All right, so let's bring these guys in. We got Mark Kyle, Colton Ulrich, and Bryce Gibbs. A couple of guys couldn't make it, but welcome.
Gentlemen.
How's it going tonight?
Going great. How about you guys?
We're going good, man. Pleasure to have you guys on.
Yeah,
glad you can make it. I know everybody's busy.
It's my night off. I have a night off. My Tuesdays are my night off now.
Nice. What about you, Colton? Where are you going?
We were actually fishing the canal behind our house before going and get some dinner. So my dad's out there right now. I think he's listening on. Yeah, he's listening. He waved at me. He's listening on his phone and looking at me and fishing outside. So I'm just somewhere quiet to avoid the noise.
That's cool, man.
You have a canal behind your house with bass in it?
Yeah, so we live at the north edge of Mesa. So where the canal starts at the Salt River actually runs just behind, our neighborhood. And so it's actually the feeder canal for all the canals in Mesa down to like Gilbert and Queen Creek. So it's directly up the Salt. And to be honest, we've caught a couple 5 and 6 pounders out of here.
Have you really?
We just go on our free time. Like my dad, in between meetings, will take a jog down to the canal and fish for a bit. So just something fun to do, scratch the itch.
Yeah, absolutely. That's funny. When I was leaving the last event at Martinez and Mitri out there at the lake, I saw you and your dad. You guys stopped off and you were like not done fishing. You're like, we're going right for this canal, and I was like, heck yeah!
We caught a few out there.
Did you really?
Yeah. Awesome. We caught a 22 1/4 off of that little canal. Yeah, wow. There were some big ones. They're all chasing tilapia on beds. So just below that bridge, it was very shallow. You could kind of sight fish them. Pretty cool.
Yeah, awesome, man.
You're not too far from me then, Colton.
Yeah, our crossroads are like Gilbert and McKillop, so we're pretty much at as far north before you hit the 87. Sadly, that bridge is like swamped out, so it takes getting to Roosevelt another like 10-15 minutes.
I'm Ellsworth and Brown, so I'm more east, but
yeah, pretty much the same ballpark.
Not too far. I have the same canal that runs over here. I go to the Salt River instead. They're small, but it's fun. They're active.
Top water there is fun.
Mm-hmm.
I got to say hello to my buddy Mike Porter on here. Zebco's Rule. He is known locally as Mr. Zebco, man, and he is out there. I think he's fishing all the time with a Zebco 33, and the dude slays them. He just won a tournament a couple of weeks ago down south at Patagonia, and heck of a stick, man. He puts those Zebcos to work, man. Glad to have you on here, Mike.
That's cool.
So
I was there once upon a time.
Right.
You've got water behind your house with bass in it. I have a wash with javelina.
I will say sometimes it's a blessing and a curse because I go out there and I end up wasting more time because they're pretty pressured. It's almost like an urban pond. Everyone goes to it and kind of wets a line. So they're pretty finicky, but it's fun every once in a while.
Yeah, cool. Cool. Well, Z, you think we ought to get started with second place big fish?
Yeah, second place big fish, I want to say, was James Peel.
James
Looking
Peel.
at the standings right now. Let me see how big it was. Yeah, 1975. James Peel.
19.75 right
There it
here.
is. Yeah.
Nice one. And for that, James is getting a check for $168 for second place big fish. Not too bad.
Oh yeah, and James, if you're watching, you submitted that to the monthly as a 19.5. So if you want to resubmit that at 1975, I'll accept it at that. But I'm not going to add
I heard he
for
took
you.
I heard he took a spill too. Anyone else hear about that?
Oh no.
I think he busted up his knee or something that day.
Oh no. I hope he's all right.
Yeah, so speedy
Hope we didn't lose
recovery.
anything.
I'm not sure what happened, but hope you're all right, James.
Yeah, yeah.
And Andrew Martin took two trebles in the hand as well.
Oh,
it was on that.
I
It was
heard about
it was
that.
on a post with them.
Hey, but dude, you know what? Andrew's hardcore. I heard he just cut off the stems and then just kept fishing. Like, I'll get this out later.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said they were
he went to
really
the ER.
at the end of the day.
Oh, I bet. I mean, like, it's just gonna fester, you know? Like, it's not gonna get any better. But
you should have came over to Mark and had him pop it out,
there
man.
you go, James.
Yeah,
I don't know.
there
Man.
he is.
I could have learned something about that.
It was tough though because he had two of them in him.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yeah.
Once that barb's in, you got to go all the way
Bennett?
through. Bennett, what's up, dude?
All right. So then, let's see. You want to go up to sixth place? Do you have it in front of you?
Yeah, I do.
That's for you, Bennett.
So when we're just going to talk about top 5 first. So
we'll go with.
Or you want to do? Six
six
places. All right. Should we mention first place big fish?
We'll get to that.
Or we'll get to that. Okay. I see. All right, coming in 6th place was Jeff Dickerson, who actually caught the first 10-pounder in the club in our very first event at Saguaro. But he had 78 3/4 inches. His big fish was 16.5. So good job to Jeff there.
Yep. And he's getting a check for 6th place. He's getting a check for $130.
There you go. Bling,
so
bling.
A little more than the entry fee back, but not bad.
Hey, man, if I get my entry fee back, I fished for free. All right, coming in 5th place with a total of 80.5 inches. So this is our first bag past 80 inches. We got Rahman Rana, and his big fish was 17 inches. But he did well out there, 5th place finish.
Yeah. And he's getting a check for $195.
Nice. Heck yeah. Also, to remind everybody that made the top 12, you do qualify for the state championship. And then coming in 4th place with 83 inches dead even, big fish was 17 1/4, Mark Nienhuis, if I pronounced that correctly.
Yep, and Mark is picking up a check for $260. And Mark couldn't make it. He had to work late tonight, so he couldn't be on.
All right, well, we hope that he's here in spirit because I know he doesn't want to be at work. He'd rather be here. Anyway, coming in 3rd place with 83 1/4 inches, and we have him here with us, Mark Kyle.
Mark Kyle, yep.
Well done, sir.
Mark,
thank you.
Mark, you're getting a check for $378.
Great, awesome.
Yeah, a little kayak change.
Great.
Yeah, man, you've been in the top a lot here.
I'm thankful for that.
Yeah.
It's fun. Yeah, I'm having a great time.
Yeah, you know, when you came up to me, like as soon as you arrived at awards for this last event, I mean, your excitement for kayak fishing was real, and I totally appreciate it. Yeah, you were just so jazzed to be out there fishing, and you had so much fun. And it's funny because I looked at the results and I'm like, man, like I guess compared to how you've been catching them, like 83 1/4, I can't even say is a good bag for you, but you were just so pumped still to just be out there catching them, man.
It's fun just to be back and have any distractions or any, in the world, it gets kind of being big sometimes. In the college, you can just disappear. I never saw I moved during the day. I haven't done that. But for the first time, I loaded my kayak, moved to another place, and launched there. And at the second place I went, I never saw another kayak the whole time. I didn't have anything, a boat or anything. So it was pretty
Hey,
cool.
Mark, you're kind of breaking up a little bit. I don't know what changed. It was great until just a bit ago.
Okay.
And now, is he breaking up for everybody, or is it just me?
Yeah.
He's breaking up a little, but I kind of heard what you were saying about just being able to get away from the crowd in the kayak and find your own little spot and find that solitude and kind of like, I don't know if you want to call it soul fishing, even though you're competing.
Yeah. I think that's probably why most of us got into fishing, because we love the outdoors, and that's what I like about it. It's fun.
Amen. I totally agree with that. That's
100%. And then I know you've done a lot of boat tournaments and fished a lot out of a boat, and I've done a fair amount, but nothing like you. And there's something about kayak fishing that takes you back to your roots, and why you got into it in the first place. It's so much fun.
It really does. Yeah, I enjoy it. I really do. It's fun. Get a lot of good guys do it too.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Appreciate that. Totally agree as well.
Yeah,
man. So your boat, you fish out of like the pontoon skiff style, and I know you're real stoked on it. And I'm just, man, like, how does that thing, I mean, you got the deck matting all over it, but it was really hot out there on Sunday. And I don't know, how does that boat, does it heat up? Is there any place you can't stand on it? Or is it?
No, it's good. It's basically, it's a paddle board, basically, that I found it in Florida. And it's, I like it because it's so stable. And since I came from a bass boat world, it's more like that for me. It's more like that deck style. I mean, it's the exact same size as like a Hobie Pro Angler 14, but it's just kind of flatter on top. So, a lot of similarities, but a little bit different. Fits me well. I enjoy fishing off of it.
Cool.
But I like to stand all the time. So on that, you pretty much, I mean, you can sit down, but I enjoy standing and fishing. So it works good for me.
Yeah. Sometimes on those hot days, I feel like the kayak traps a little heat.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I didn't do well in the heat on Sunday.
It traps the fish in though too.
You don't
have any sidewalls, man.
I knew it would happen at some point.
I see it.
My first fish I caught in this tournament, the first one, it was a 16-incher. I know because I measured it. I put it on the board, and I was trying to mess with my camera, and gone. So you guys didn't get to see a picture of that one.
Oh man,
it's frustrating.
Yeah,
I couldn't imagine smallies on that boat, dude.
So the second fish, Bryce, the next cast, I hooked one, reeled it in, swung it into the boat because I was using a Zara spook and I didn't want to net it because the hooks would be in the net, and I'm like, I'm just gonna swing it. And it was a good fish too. I swung it in and it came off, landed on the deck, whoosh, back in the lake.
Gone.
So there was two. My third cast, I threw the Zara spook, it hit the water, and I twitched it once and just flushed, and I didn't hook that one. So those are my first three fish of the morning.
Yeah, so, I kind of worry about that for myself because I'm really interested in what you've got there. But when I fish a frog, I don't know exactly where I got in the habit. When I catch fish on a frog, I almost always swing them in the boat. And a lot of times when they hit the deck, they come off. And so I'd have to get in the habit of netting.
I think I'm going to put a milk basket up in the front and just swing them into that and then deal with them.
Wow, that's awesome! Actually, that's hilarious, dude. Bring it back. Bring the milk crate back to kayak fishing,
no, dude.
Yeah.
Screw the milk crate. Just get a big old trash can up front and just.
You get the milk crate and mount it to a scale, so you swing it in and you get the weight immediately. You know what you got.
Oh man.
I like it.
Oh, that's funny.
But it was a fun day for me. I caught my first limit were on all top water, basically, and then I kind of moved and started flipping, and I flipped the rest of the day. And I actually had a shot to win at the end. There were 10 minutes to go, And I don't know. I was frustrated with myself because I had to retie. I was fishing 50-pound braid and a 25-pound fluorocarbon leader, and I was flipping bushes. And I'd just broken off, and I had to retie. And I said, oh, I got to hurry. I got 10 minutes. So I retie, and normally I bend my hook open just a tad because I hook them a lot better doing that with the hook I use. And I thought, I don't have time. And my next flip, I hooked one that, I don't know, it was 6 or 7 easy. I pulled it out of the bush, and it came up with a big bucket mouth and wallowed around and came off. And I was like, oh. But it was fun.
What
It
are
was
you
exciting.
using?
Then the next fish was a 16-incher, and I hooked him just fine. I was like,
How it goes.
Are you
That's
using
fishing, yeah.
a straight shank hook?
No, this was a wide gap hook. But a lot of times those wide gap hooks, they bend them back a little bit too far, and I found I hook them a lot better if I'll just bend it out just a little bit. Yeah.
So
I don't know. It might not have changed anything, but.
Do you throw the wide gap when you're fishing like fluoro and go to a straight shank when you fish braid, or same thing?
I do the same. I do that. Well, I have another hook I like Gamakatsu does it's not the EWG. It's their other, it's not really the round bend one, but it's kind of like the round bend. I don't remember what that one's called, but I like that one too. Yeah, it's kind of like an offset.
Offset worm hook?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Cool. Were you throwing the leader on all those, Mark? Just curious.
Yeah, I like a leader. I have
clear.
a lot of confidence. I have a lot of confidence in the leader. I don't know why, and I like because it kind of gives you a strike indicator. I always cut my braid a little bit longer so I can see it. So when I'm flipping, it looks like it's like you can really see your line well. So when that thing moves or jumps, you got to bite.
Yeah.
So.
I couldn't get bit on straight braid is why I was asking.
Okay,
At all. I mean, and normally a few bites will happen, but not that day.
I mean, the only thing I throw straight braid on is if it's top water normally.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, I just use that Seaguar 20 or 25-pound fluorocarbon, either one, most of the time.
Yeah. How long a leader? I usually shoot for about twice the length of my rod.
I don't like it when I'm flipping. I don't like it to go into the end of my rod. So I only have about a 3-foot leader when I'm flipping, maybe a little longer because you know how it goes into your rod. And when you're flipping, it kind of tick, 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 tick as it goes out.
Catches.
Yeah. So I just like a short leader when I'm flipping. But on a spinning rod, I like it longer, but just not a flipping. But I don't know if that's right or wrong, but that's how I do it.
Then it says 5 to 10. I think it's a real personal sort of choice. I don't know. I got in the habit somewhere of just making it twice the length of my rod. It was real easy when I'd, you got your spool sitting down on the deck next to you, tie your knot, wind it up until the leader comes into your reel, and the spool sitting on the deck twice the length of your rod, and I just stuck with that.
Yep. But flipping a lot, that would mean that the knot would probably be right at the end of your rod if you're shallow flipping,
Yeah.
Wouldn't it?
Yeah, and well, to be honest, I do that a lot throwing Senkos.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Just throwing weightless Senkos around. For not to get too sidetracked on what I do, but we fish so much of the stuff down here, Patagonia and that, where it's real thick, heavy toolies and everything. And I got in the habit 65-pound test braid, and I just I fish a lot.
Yep, it's good stuff.
Yeah, heck yeah. Well,
but that was pretty much my day. So
sponsors and social media.
No, just my wife and my family, and that's it.
Yeah. It's easy that
Appreciate
way,
you guys and everybody that does all the hard work, Ricardo, and really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Our pleasure having you out here, man.
Yeah, it's fun.
We're doing it for you guys.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome.
All right.
Well, cool. Dude. Glad you had a good time, man.
Thank you. Thanks.
All right, and thanks for coming on. But moving on to second place, who also actually got first place big fish with a 21.75, and we have him here with us tonight as well. There it is. Yeah.
Nice.
That's a good one. I like the gorilla lipped fish. That's what I call them. Or donkey.
We were all looking for one of them. Colton got it.
Yeah, dude. I like those guys.
It surprised me too.
Yeah, man. So 21.75 was your big fish. You had 83 3/4 inch in second place finish, man. Good job.
Thank you.
Yeah. So along with that, your big fish, 21.75, you're going to get $252 for that fish. And your basic payout on second place is $599. So you are taking home a whopping $851.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
My day was honestly not that eventful. It was that first fish. The last two tournaments, so our team tournament and then the lower gear the weekend before, I actually zeroed. So I kind of tried well, me and my dad talked of, because I'm basically stuck wherever he wants to go too. We talked and I was like, let's try somewhere new. I haven't managed to catch a fish, so I did some just review on maps and Google Maps and everything and found some points because I like fishing more offshore stuff. I've been trying to get out of the trees at Roosevelt ever since it flooded. And so I found some of the points on like Google Maps where it showed a history of rocks. So there was like less overgrowth and I kind of targeted those. The big one came pretty early in the morning. I think they were chasing like gizzards or something because I saw a big school that kept going over this, basically a saddle in the water at like 25 foot. And so I would see a big blip or two every once in a while come off after the school and kind of scatter them. And I was throwing a jerk bait, and so I just had it sink till it basically went over that saddle, and the school came back over and kind of dispersed again, and he just grabbed whatever was sitting there left. So it really surprised me because a bass boat pulled up right as that happened too, and I was watching them, and I looked back down, and my line just went boom, and pretty much fight was on. But yeah, it was fun. Most of my fish throughout the day came on a jerk bait. That white color I posted, if anyone saw the post, but
I did. I should have grabbed a picture of that. I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of us did.
it's honestly been my favorite color for the past like year. It's something about these fish. They like that white compared. I mean, a lot of guys throw like the bone top water, and it has to be a similar reason for like a white jerkbait doing really well. But yeah, I didn't have a bite until about like 11 or I think 10:30 is when my next fish was. So I found finally another point where it kind of had a rocky slope and basically found the same instance of where it was smaller fish, but they're chasing bait again. So jerk bait was the go-to.
So that spot, was that where the guys came up on you in the boat and wanted you off that spot?
Yeah, the big fish was that, and they saw me catch that fish. I was trying to keep it down in the water after it hit, but with like those treble baits, they really like to jump, and so he jumped like 3 or 4 times, and those guys basically just sat there looking at me and were asking me questions as I was trying to land, and so I kind of just, oh, it's not that big, but then of course I had to measure and do a release video, and so they saw, and yeah. But they came up, they wanted that spot. After that, they fished it for probably another 25, 30 minutes and then finally left. And then another boat rolled up that was on a point further down and tried to fish it as well.
Yeah. Yeah, you see a lot of that. It seems these days, a lot of guys, point hopping.
Yeah, they wanted to throw cranks on it. And so they were basically just casting right over the lane I was doing because they wanted to sideways fish that hump, drag it off like the deep end, go over the top and back down deep. And I was throwing pretty much from the shore along the hump. And so,
yeah, it's funny you mentioned that because I seem to recall a boat tournament that was there maybe a week before us. And there was a 27-pound bag. And I think that I heard those guys were deep cranking. I think that word got out. And so people might have been trying to run that.
Yeah. They definitely wanted that area, but I basically told them I wasn't going to move because now I have spot lock on my kayak. So I just pretty much set the button. I was like, you're going to have to basically cast on me if you want to fish this freaking point because I sat on top of it for a little bit there and was like, you guys just ran up on me. If you would have asked, I would have let them, but they were going to be rude. So I was going to block it.
I'm glad you listened to the spot lock, Colton. Good job.
Yeah. Got to have that chirp on them.
Yeah, it's funny, man. It's sometimes most of the guys are pretty cool, but once in a while we got to stand up for ourselves and kind of hold our ground.
Yeah, I would like. I'm pretty friendly with them. If they're like, "Hey, are you working down this way, or are you fishing?" One other boat rolled up, but he was like, "Are you fishing the point, or are you working the bank?" And I said, "No, I'm fishing the point," and he just basically gunned the motor and went the other way. So
Yeah.
if they're nice, it's no problem. But there was a couple of them that, especially after they see a big fish caught like that or bigger fish, they kind of get a little stingy.
You can call it's okay. You can call that a big fish.
Biggest of the tournament, homie.
Yeah, dude, that's big fish.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm excited
Trophy
for
to prove
Saguaro
it.
to see some bigger fish.
Yeah. I guess that's right. You're used to fishing pigs.
I'm debating meeting you out there, Colton. I don't know yet.
Hey,
I don't
I'll
know
be
yet.
out there. I'll be out there a few times. I'm really excited for that tournament. But yeah, jerkbait was I could just see. I'm assuming they're post spawners because he was pretty skinny. I mean, still a little bit fat because he was eating shad, but definitely not filled. So I'm assuming that he was a post spawner trying to feed up now for the summer.
Yeah, that
So,
belly was about as flat as the edge of your board, so I think you're
Yeah.
probably right.
Yeah, but it seemed like that was one pattern that was going on at least. So some fish were chasing shad pretty deep, 25, 20, 25 feet.
Yeah, that's cool you got on him, man, because when I saw you in the morning, I'm just going to be honest, you did not seem very confident. You were kind of like, all right, I'm going fishing.
Yeah, and when everyone started going to the salt side, I was like, oh man, am I making a mistake? Because me and my dad, we just beelined it north trying to find the rockier stuff. So I was like, oh boy, that's like 15 guys all going to the salt.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it was
but
the moving flotilla there.
yeah, it ended up working out better for me this time though. So I'm very grateful.
Yeah, very good, man.
Thank you.
Good
When
job.
did you get your limit, Colton? Just curious.
I caught my limit about 20 minutes before the end of the tournament. Then I cold, so I was just behind Mark because he had his fish posted. So I was just behind Mark by, I think, an inch and a half or something at the time. And literally like 10 minutes before it ended, I hooked a 15 and a quarter. To be honest, I didn't even know I had him on my line. I was sitting there watching because another bass boat came by and was talking to me and was like, "Have you caught anything today?" And anyways, I was sitting there talking to him, and all of a sudden my line started pulling, and so a little 15-incher slapped the jerkbait as I had it falling because I was waiting for it to get down into that zone. So he called a little 12-incher I had because that was my limit. Was like a little 12 was filling out, so it called me up a little bit, just barely enough to squeak ahead of Mark.
Good
But,
That's
job.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. So, oh yeah, quarter of an inch. Yeah, so you just barely squeaked it out there. Awesome.
Thank you.
Nothing like it, man. Last minute fish is what tournament fishing's all about, dude.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
All right. So, how about, sponsors, social media? What do you got going on, man?
I got Instagram for my ASU bass team, AZ State bass team. So I was the president of the club. I'm probably going to convert that account into something else because no students wanted it, but feel free to give it a follow. I'll start posting some clips and I'll probably do some reels because I'm trying to do that jerkbait video finally. I'm going to do a rigging video on top of technique and stuff, and then as well as like some live scope video to show how to fish it. But
Cool.
that'll be there soon. I'll probably post a couple reels of that.
So you actually posted when you posted those jerk baits. One had a feathered treble hook.
Yes.
So do you actually like utilize that in different situations?
I started putting it on all my baits because Bartlett in particular, this was the case of they were being very finicky and they're chasing shad just below the surface, but they didn't want it running. So some lakes, like even Roosevelt, it was a really hard rip to get them to go for it because if they're chasing big school of gizzards, the gizzards are moving really quick. So you got to kind of do that hard action to convince them to grab something. But like Bartlett was tapping, and so that little feather tail, I believe, kind of convinces the more finickier fish to just kind of grab that end treble. Because I would say probably 35% of the time it's that end treble that they barely have in their mouths, and then the rest of the time is a complete like all three trebles hooked up. So I think it's just for when those fish are finickier and they don't want it necessarily running. They kind of want to pick it off as it's sinking or falling. That tail might give it a little bit of a flutter action.
Interesting. Yeah, something to include in your reels when you're breaking it down for us.
Yep, I'll do that
Okay.
with all the owner stuff. But
Yeah, nice, dude. Right on. Well, thanks for coming on and sharing with us. Congratulations on second place.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good job conquering Roosevelt.
Yeah,
You got it. You got
You
it
had my
finally,
number for a
dude. You got
while.
it finally. Good job, man.
Safe to say. All right, I guess that leads us to first place with the even 87 inches and big fish of 18.5. And he's with us tonight, obviously, Bryce Gibbs. This is by no means your first victory, but is it your first victory with us?
Yeah.
Well,
Dude.
congratulations.
So thank you. So I've had
let me jump
go ahead. Go ahead.
With Bryce, for your 87-inch effort, you're picking up a check for $1,042.
Sweet.
Sir,
awesome.
I like that.
Awesome.
I like that number.
So back to your comment there, Z. Like the last 3 tournaments, I think I finished top 4 in all 3. Those are my first top 4s. Like I mean, the last year and a half of my life has been really chaotic, and like it's just I'm trying to figure out fishing time versus family time versus work versus this versus that, and I help out all kinds of clubs, just not here either. Like West Coast stuff, questions. It consumes a lot of my life. So like, I mean, this tournament, I came in. I had 0 pre-fishing. I mean, I went there for the lower gear tournament. I ended up launching late, coming back in early just to help out with the lower gear side of things. I mean, Don did most of it, but I was there if needed. And it was like, that was my pre-fishing. That's all I had. So I showed up Friday night, Saturday morning at like 1:00. Pulled off the side of the road, tried to sleep, couldn't. I mean, I slept, I don't even think, an hour and a half. I woke up at 4:30. So you guys were all launching. I just woke up. And I mean, dude, it was just chaos. But so I launched late, and then I see Frenchie and Robert over there. And Frenchie's having motor issues. So I go over there, try to help him out. His motor's not working. Frenchie, I hope you watch this, because I told you that morning, switch the remote batteries. He's like, oh, they're brand new. I'm like, but they fall out of place sometimes. Just, later on in the day, he was asking for batteries because he had drive issues. He finally switched the remote batteries, and then he had, toggled with them basically. And then he got his trolling motor to work. I thought I had a spare remote in my kayak, and I'm not running the motor right now. Didn't have that, but I was just trying to help another angler out. Didn't work out. I caught my first fish 2 hours in, and it was like a 14 on a jig. 14.5, 14.75. And I just keep going, just fishing. My second fish came at 9:08, and that one was on a bluegill Rico, popper. And I saw her, and it was like she was guarding fry, but there was no fry around. There was no bed. She was skinny. I mean, that 18.25 weighed, if I had to guess, 2.25 at tops. I mean, she was just skinny. But she ate a small swim bait that I had. She was following a buzz bait. She was moving around. She was active. She would not eat anything. And like the little swim bait, she ate it and spit it out. I'm like, what is going on? So I had that popper. I threw it over there, pop. And this is like 5 casts. I leave, go fish, come back for her. And the little feathers, Colton, dude, she came up. There was no big blow up. She came up, and I watched her. That was it. And I was, oh, okay. Then I that was my, I had 2 fish at 9:08. I saw Ramon out there, and he's yelling, "Hey, Bryce, what's up?" I'm like, and I didn't check the leaderboard until that time. And it was after 9 before I even checked. He's all happy. He's got his limit early, like Ramon normally does, And I was like, I don't understand it. I threw a buzzbait a lot. I love throwing a buzzbait at Roosevelt. The previous weekend at Lower Gear, I stuck a 7 on a buzzbait. It's a confidence bait out there. But they kept swiping at it even less. I would kill it. I would literally be burning a buzzbait, kill it, let it fall 3 feet, 3, 4, 5 feet. Then they would eat it, and I just couldn't hook up. Like it was the weird freaking bite for me. But so I have 2 fish. Ramon says, "What's up?" I don't have a limit at all. And I'm fishing down the shoreline, and then a bass boat cuts me off. And I'm like, it was 25 yards, if that. And I'm sitting there paddling. There's no motor, and I'm just kind of power pitching a jig into all these trees. And he cuts me off, and I'm like, I don't even want to talk to him. I don't want to say anything. I don't want to just. He goes in the cove. I cut him off. I'm sorry. He wasn't in the tournament anyway. Just he was out fun fishing. Yeah. So I go to the next point, and I get bit on a jig, miss it, and I'm burning it back in after I left it there for a little bit. She bit it, and I'm like, oh, come on, come back and get it. Nothing. I burn it in. I have an 18.5 and a 20. Swim right to my kayak, following that jig. And normally, especially at Roosevelt, if I'm burning a jig to the boat, I'll pause it just before the boat. Especially now till October, and they'll crush it. They'll crush it right before the boat, and I didn't pause it. I'm like, oh, there were 2 there. Okay, throw back in, and the 18 something bit again. I set, miss her. They were nipping at it.
Mm-hmm.
I set, and it falls back down. All right. Going, and I lay into that one. It was 18.5. And she jumped like way out, and I did one of these, net swoops, and I barely got her. She hit the net, jig popped out. It's like, all right, so there's 3. And I had an hour to go. I power fished and threw a jig almost all day. And I had an hour to go, and I was like, dude, I need 2 fish. And I saw these 2, and I'm like, they got 80 plus. And like I just right now I just need like 2 16s. I go out there, there's 2 15s even. And so put everything else behind me. And at this point, it's hot. We were all out there. It's freaking hot, man. And I'm pedaling. Like, I'm working. I'm going. My bushy eyebrows are drooping sweat, burning my eyes. So I go. I have 1 spinning rod in my kayak, and it has a flick shake. And back when I was your age, Colton, I'd go out and just throw a flick shake, and dude, it caught fish day, night. It didn't matter. No one was throwing it out here. I won't say no one, but very unlikely for guys to throw it. Yeah, picked that back up, and I had clear water, 10 to 12 foot trees, and I would just scope them. And I would scope this tree, scope that tree, and it was the trees for the most part that you couldn't see, above the water. And there's maybe 30-ish fish under 12 inches by that tree. You throw in there all the 10s and 12s that come up to it, but then you let it fall down for about 5 seconds, and then a 15, 16, 17 would come up and just eat that bait. So I caught 16 and a quarter, 16 and a half, back to back, real quick. That was my limit. And then the 17 and a quarter, I threw next to this tree. She ate it. I set, ran into the tree, was shaking, got off, and I was standing up at this point. Yeah, she was right here. She ran this way, got off finally, because my line was wrapped around the tree.
Mm-hmm.
Got off, and she went right back to the tree. Reeled it in, threw it over there. I mean, she just came out of the tree, ate it, and then that was the 17 and a half. But I lost 19 plus doing that right at the end too. Retied right at the end, just like I get one more bite, because I'm thinking Colton's gonna stick another freaking 20. Mark Kyle's gonna stick another 20. Like it ain't over. It ain't over with. I mean, it's not just these two. A lot of these guys, we fish to the end. You know, I mean, it's never freaking over.
Grinding it out.
Even after lines out, you know, I had 2 or what was it? 1 on that one. Lines out, we're at 1, and it's like, I don't have it. I didn't think I had it at all. Just I caught 6 fish all day, and I lost fish all day. I had more followers than bites. Like I had so many fish following baits all freaking day. It was a struggle. It really was a struggle for me. But
Yeah, it's
3 fish at the end with a wacky. I mean, it's. I'll take the fairy wand out here and there, man. 1 hour versus the other 7 trying to go for big bites.
what flick shake are you throwing? Because if you're fishing brush with that, it's something that's got a weed guard on it, right?
Yeah. So the head itself, I mean, I have so many from back in the day, from Wicked Weights. So it's a 1/16 ounce Wicked Weights jig head, and you know, I think Copper State's got the same stuff. It's similar anyway. There's actually a new one that I want to get. I'm almost out, so I got to get down there. And then a Jackal 5.5 green pumpkin candy. There it is. You know, and that color is it dominates around the country. You know, just whatever it may be. I mean, you have black and blue around the country. You hear that, but like a green pumpkin variation, you can't go wrong throwing that a lot of the times. You know, I mean, even if they're on shad, like back in, again, when I was Colton's age, I wasn't throwing topwater when they were blowing up. You had 2, 3, 4 pounders blowing up on the surface. I'd throw a flick shake out there, let it sink down underneath the school, and you have 6, 7s, and 8s down there, and they would just pick that right up, man. You know, and Mark said it earlier. I mean, I'm not sure if that's the right way to do it, but it's always the right way to do it for you. You know, whatever works for you. You can't find someone else's fish. You can't fish for someone else's fish. You know, all that kind of stuff. But like, it's that flick shake has. I mean, it's caught me a lot of fish over the years, so I can't not go back to it.
Well, that flick shake, I know we're kayak fishing, but in a boat as a co-angler, if you're fishing from the back of somebody's boat, they're up pretty tight going down the bank, you know, throwing bait or something like that, and you're fishing behind them, that flick shake can be deadly because it's something that you can fish pretty fast, get down quick, you can make short casts with it, and it's something usually very different than your boaters fishing. So those flick shakes are awesome.
Oh yeah. So one of the first times I went out with the guy, my buddy Jose, I used to fish bass boat tournaments with. And that's, you know, we do here and there still. But we were at Saguaro, and he's power fishing. And it's like, bro, slow down. Like we're in a kayak. Back then I had my Ascend, you know, so like I wasn't fishing fast. You know, crankbait, flick shake. I stuck a 6.4 and a 6.7 at Saguaro, like back to back. He's like, what are you throwing over there, man? I told you slow down. You're gonna slow down, then I'll tell you, dude. But it's a great bait. You know, you can adjust the weights, you can adjust the worm sizes just to get the fall action and all that. And basically, all I was doing, I throw it out there, Wait 5 seconds. Pop, 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 pop. Nothing. Reel it in. 5 seconds. Pop, 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 pop. Nothing. Reel it in.
So are you braid to fluoro? And then if you're throwing fluoro because you're fishing that brush, you might have to cut some out of a tree. What kind of pound test are you throwing?
7 pound.
7.
7 pound sniper. 7 pound snipe, dude. So I'd hook up, right? And then I would pedal. I'd pedal like a you know what to get on the other side of the tree and pull these fish out. I mean, I had 5 bites, 1 bit twice, and I caught 3 of them. So like the 19 I lost. The 17 and a half I lost once, but I got her again. And I had 3 fish. I was in full gamble mode at that point. I mean, I threw a jig more than I thought was possible for me that day, to be honest. And I still wasn't really getting them on that either. And I'm like, I got one thing left that I haven't thrown. I threw 10 rods, 10 rods that day.
Wow.
And I threw everything at them, man, except for the end, you know. And I mean, it worked out, but it wasn't easy, you know, not at all.
No, it sounds like it was grinding it out, you know.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Wow, that's cool. That sounds like it's a pretty good day though at the end.
Yeah, I mean it's worked out. The best part about my day is part of me being additionally late getting up there. I turned back around to get some mushroom coffee and my coconut water. I had it in the fridge. I forgot it. I'm like I was at SAG. Turned around, came back home, and 1 o'clock hit, popped that freaking coconut water and chugged the whole thing, pulp and all. It was so freaking good. But yeah, I mean, it's not all days are perfect out there. You know, we all lose fish. We all can't catch them some days, and
I know that.
Some days you just get enough. You know, I mean, it's fishing. It's crazy.
Yeah,
it's fishing. So
I was around some of the guys that were catching really big bags in the boat tournament, and I caught one 13 and a quarter inch fish, and there were guys catching 20-pound bags, right?
Oh yeah,
and I just couldn't figure it out.
Ty did 22 and 21 back-to-back days.
Yeah, something like that, and then I mean, there's some big bags, and then. Rosie's interesting to me, and I think Mark will be able to chime in on this too, because it was like, I don't know, I think 6-7 years ago, if you could go out there and catch 13, 14 pounds out of Rosie, that was a big bag. You know, that was nice. And they were going on about the gizzard shad a lot and saying a lot of people thought the gizzard shad were starting to really ruin the lake. Game and Fish was all concerned. They were talking about poisoning, you know, gizzard shad in the coves and stuff. Mark, you heard about some of that, right? Your mic's off. Your mic's off, Mark. There you go.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Oh,
yeah.
Sorry. So remember the slot, and we used to try to, man, you would work like crazy to get 5 over 16 inches.
Oh my
and
God.
They let you weigh in unders also. Mm-hmm. So you'd have I won a bass boat one time. I caught an 11 pounder and had 4 under 13 inches. Yeah.
I tell people about playing the upgrade your unders game. You can't catch overs. You already got your slot. And so you're trying to upgrade your unders.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh my God. Most frustrating game in the world. What was the low end of the slot? 13?
What's that?
What was the low side of the slot? I think it was 13 to 17.
I think it was 13 to 16.
Was it 16?
Yeah, 16.
And you catch slot fish all day long, and you're trying to upgrade your under between 12 and 13 inches long to get the very heaviest one you could get. It was like, that was ridiculous.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. But Rosie's really, really come around. I mean, it's fishing pretty good. You see all the bags.
That's like Rosie for me has been like, it's always the power fishing lake. I'm a power fisherman. I'll throw 7-pound tests in trees all day long if I have to. But like, it's always been a power fishing lake, so I always treat it that way. Mm-hmm. And like lately, I can't really get on power fishing. They follow it. You know, a popper, you have to sit there and, I mean, you could walk something really quick. Then it could be area specific, but like I get blowups when I'm just dead sticking a freaking popper.
Mm-hmm.
Not just the one, but like other tournaments too.
What I've seen with Roosevelt is for me, the new fish they're putting in now, the whatever strain of bass these are, and same with Saguaro.
That's Florida.
Is but there's some different strain than what we had before, I think, because now these fish really school up. So you could go to Roosevelt and fish and go 2 tournaments in blank and go to the next tournament and land on a school where you catch more 3-pounders than you've ever caught in your life. Like when I find them at Roosevelt, man, you find them, you know, you can have your best day, but the next day you could have your worst day if that school moves. So it's just finding that school, you know. It's weird how many of them school together.
What I've noticed is actually in exact agreement with that statement, because it's weird. Like 2020 when I would fish Roosevelt and stuff, I wouldn't find hardly any schoolers. But I have a video, and that's of like my live scope. I found a school of like 70 to 80 largemouth at Roosevelt, and it was like lights out. You could throw anything near them, and you'd hook one, and they would all just chase. And same at Saguaro, I've started seeing more than it used to be like a lone fish that I would kind of try to target. And now I'm seeing groups of like 5 to 6 or even like 7 bass, whereas before it always seemed like they were a lone fish on a rock or something like that. But definitely the schooling attitude.
It's been awesome game and fish stocking our lake. See, they never did that when I was young, you know. Right. And I think that just helps so much.
It has.
Yeah.
Well, and
so
Mark,
when
I think you and I are probably close to the same vintage, and I know when I was a kid, we would go to Roosevelt and San Carlos and fish water dogs, and we ate everything we caught.
So when I was like 17, this is back in high school days, I had a bass boat, but I had those schooling fish back then too. I mean, we had the first tournament at Roosevelt. It was a 2-day event, and it was fishing with my buddy Austin Scott back then, and I mean, we were like 3rd place after day 1, and then day 2, it was, 15 minutes in, we're culling already, and it was all 2.5, 3-pound clones, but we probably caught 70 to 90 fish that day. I mean, it was stupid, and that was 13 years ago now.
Yeah,
but and then after that, I didn't really go back to Roosevelt, more than once a year. So I don't know, but yeah, they introduced the Florida strain back in like 2016 maybe?
2017, 2016, around there.
And then 2021, I caught a 4-pounder, and that was a Florida strain. And I was like, all right, they're getting big. And then since then, they kept dumping them in, which is awesome. Yeah, and that lake's, it's got so many freaking fish now. It's crazy.
It is crazy.
But the one thing I'll say about Roosevelt too, I bit my tongue earlier, but like being a weird lake, I follow moon phases a lot. I mean, you have your morning, you have your afternoon. I follow the moon phase in between. And Roosevelt is the only lake around the Phoenix area for me where it's like I cannot dial in a bite other than finesse fishing during that moon phase. It's like they're in the moon phase, they stop, and then they eat outside of the moon phase almost. I don't know. I don't know if you guys follow moon phases at all, Colton, Mark, but like I feel like it's backwards at that freaking lake. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Cool. Hey, Bryce. How about sponsors and social?
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say.
Bryce Gibbs Fishing. I mean, Facebook. I stopped posting on the Facebook side of things for Bryce Gibbs Fishing. Now it's just my personal page. some stuff with Instagram happened, and I couldn't figure it out to post through Instagram to get to the Bryce Gibbs Fishing page anymore, so I kind of just gave that up. But Bryce Gibbs Fishing on Instagram. I mean, just really Copper State. I mean, that's just they stepped up huge for me this year. I do want to bring up, they have a sale going on. They got a couple right now. 15% off on 7+ inch worms right now. And then if you buy a gift card there, it's 20% off the gift card now until the 17th. And also, we'll be at Clear Lake, but on the 29th of this month, that's when they're going to expand. So they're getting ready. The suite next to them, they're going to open that up. They're going to have all kinds of stuff. They're going to have clothing, a bigger Bahio stick, display, all kinds of new stuff. They're going to have life jackets in there too.
Yeah.
So they're really expanding, and that's the 29th. They're going to have a huge party, basically.
Yeah. Man, I wish.
Yeah. I mean, they still have great online sales though too. So that's the benefit. I mean, I saw a freaking video from with Cruz. What's his name? John Cruz today. They're doing a giveaway with John Cruz, and it's like they got Ben Milliken, John Cruz, Clifford Perch, Ty. The list goes on. Gary, it's
amazing. They've got a lot of people.
Their reach is incredible, and they always have sales going on. So it's sales going on. They're first and foremost outside of my family.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that 20% off the gift cards for Father's Day. That's a great deal. You should everybody tell your wives.
Yeah, or it's not even that. You want 20% off? You go buy a gift card for yourself.
Gift card,
I told Brad today. I said, "Hey, dude, go in the Copper Store or just buy a gift card. You get 20% off.
Yeah.
You can buy something for yourself." And I hand out those 10% off coupons. 20 is better than 10. We all know that.
Yeah, that's good, man. Everybody go down there and take advantage of that stuff for sure.
Yeah, heck yeah. So good people down there. Really good people. They're just looking to help out the community. I mean, I think they're our biggest sponsor. Pat, I could be wrong, but
they're a title sponsor.
I go down there, and for the most part, I go down there and pick out baits for the tournament, and the baits that they give out, I'll just say, okay, if I was fishing Roosevelt, what would I buy?
Yeah.
Beep, 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 beep. Those are the Copper State giveaways.
Yeah. Cool. And thank you for going and picking that up for us. I appreciate it.
Of course.
All right. Well, hey, man, thank you very much for coming on. I'm going to.
Of course. Thank you guys.
Yeah, you bet. Here's just real quick, pop up the payout, so we're able to pay out just a little over $3,000 for 42 guys. So not too bad. And had a really good raffle giveaway. I think we gave away some good stuff. That has Rico's in there and all the stuff you picked up. And Zoltan put some stuff in. Really appreciate all that. And so you guys ready to see AOI?
It's I already know what it is. Man.
I'm ready to see me way down the list.
I already saw that 3 days ago, Pat.
Let's see how this works. I don't know. Hopefully it's big enough for everybody to see. We're going to go full screen. Can you guys see that, or do I need to zoom in a little bit more?
Looks good to me.
They can screenshot, zoom in.
I can't. I got to zoom back out just well. Yep. So we got Mark Kyle in the lead with this is after throwouts and everything. So with 1,170 points, Bryce, you're in second with 1,129. Paul, Travis, Ramon, Dallin, Kyle, Mark. Let's see. Oh, I can't scroll on that. Let me scroll down a little bit further, give people an idea just to kind of look at it. And then I'll be posting up screenshots of this tomorrow. And the other thing I want to show you guys, let me pop this out of here, is, oh, I forgot to put that up. That was our top 10. I can't even see that very good, so I don't think you guys can either. That was just a screenshot from Tourney X. But
I just see +1.
This is our qualifier list right now. And so here on the right side, we now have 31 people who have qualified by getting a top 12 in one of the 5 qualifiers. And then the right side over here is the guys where they stand in the AOI after the roll down, where we take out the guys that are already qualified. So with this right now, we've got 56 guys that would be making it to the championship. With that, we would qualify 5 guys to go to the Series National. So we'll see what happens at Bartlett. And, if we get some new guys, add into the top 12 side of the list. But it's looking pretty good. I think we're lined up for a pretty good championship.
I do want to say to all the anglers that are watching this now and then will watch this later, like the last event at Bartlett, bring your wife, bring your kids, bring your homie, bring everybody. Everyone's going to catch fish. And the more people we have on that list at the end of the year, the better,
Yeah.
So, and it's Bartlett. Like, I mean, I believe anything can happen at Bartlett.
Yeah.
I really do.
Bartlett's
I was hoping to get into the top 12 at Roosevelt because Bartlett is like, I usually catch a lot, but I never
anybody.
do well.
It's anybody, man. Anybody can have a good day out there. And you can catch 4 teams across the board and stick an 18.
Yeah.
You're qualified for the championship if you're not already,
Yeah,
I mean, easy.
I never
Easy.
catch the 18s there.
Top water.
All right. Well, guys, we've been on here a little more than an hour. I don't know if anybody has any questions or if we have anything, but we'll probably get wrapped up here pretty quick. I want to thank you guys for jumping on with us. And also, I want to say we've definitely got a little break here before we jump back in with our Bartlett qualifier in September. And like I said at the beginning, Zoltan's got a lot of good stuff going on with the club. So there's opportunities out there, and we're going to have more stuff coming for you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you,
everybody,
guys.
for coming on. Yeah, appreciate it.
Good job, Brett. Saw your comment. Good job, man. You're in.
Oh, wait, what was that?
Brett Crowther.
He said,
like, I think
I
yeah,
see my
okay.
name.
Yeah.
Dude,
he
was right there.
I'll get the full angle of the year posted tomorrow morning. But all right, guys, thank you very much for joining us, and we will see you all soon.
Sounds good.